Agreed to.
Mr Speaker.
I call the honourable member David
Thank you, Mr
Shearer.
Speaker. And I first start by thanking the Prime Minister for coming to the House and explaining to us what his legislation is in fact going to do. And may I recommend that next time they put the clauses into the bill rather than have to rely on a third reading. Sir, today we confront a challenge that countries around the world are grappling with: how we keep our country safe from cyber intrusion and terrorism, and that threat is very real. And I've experienced it firsthand. I absolutely understand the critical importance of national security, and we in the Labor Party take that very seriously. But just as important is how we balance that with the need to protect our freedoms and our right to privacy. And that is our challenge, sir. We are living in an age dominated by everything digital, developing at a pace without equal in humankind. Just a few short years ago, we communicated via letters in the mail solely. That's a dying trade these days. Instead, the internet dominates our lives, and we use it to educate ourselves and others, to create new innovations, to communicate and to do business at home and around the world. And with it and other technology, almost anything can be found out about anyone at the touch of a button. When someone lives and works, what they do in their spare time, who they talk to and what they say, every detail of our most private moments that we hold sacred. In the wrong hands, this technology can be used as a weapon to pry into our lives in a way that we all find abhorrent. We can't completely prevent that kind of abuse by individuals and organisations with malicious intent. The power of government and its security agencies can play their part to combat that threat. But we must have confidence in those agencies, and we must be clear about the limits and trust the oversight that is being given to them. The legislation being passed today was the perfect opportunity to be a world leader in addressing this area. The revelations of Bradley Manning and Edward Snowden have created a global disquiet. But the sad fact about the GCSB bill is that all it has achieved to fuel is fear about the state's ability to pry, and not on those threats that we might face. And that has been because of the way the GCSB bill was written and rammed through Parliament. We could have seized the chance to thoroughly investigate how our intelligence sector works in an increasingly global environment. We could have had robustly debated the rights and responsibilities of the state and when and how it should deploy the tools at its disposal for our national security. We could have based the legislation on the findings of a full and independent inquiry. We could have been a world leader, confronting and charting a path through these dilemmas that would act as a model for other countries. We have been a leader in the past, Mr Speaker. We led in giving women the vote in the 19th century, and we led nuclear-free New Zealand in the 20th century. This was our opportunity to lead again. That would have been a great starting point for restoring Kiwis' confidence. Instead, sir, this bill is about simply getting across the line. It's about finding a quick remedy to a political hangover. John Key tells us that people don't care about this issue. Well, we know that's not true. Thousands of New Zealanders have marched in the streets, gone to rallies, and there have been debates in workplaces, homes and communities right across the country. They might not understand John Key's confused and complex explanations about how 8A and 8C relates to Section 15 or Section 14 or whatever, or the two-stage warrant process that he would be sure to put in place if it was him being a Prime Minister. But they don't find this legislation, sir, at all reassuring. They have no faith that we've got the balance right or that we have fully thought through the consequences of this law. Labor was open to negotiations from the beginning. We had a principled position that we needed a thorough inquiry right across our entire intelligence network, because that was fundamental to getting this solution correct. John Key did us the courtesy of listening. But he made it crystal clear that he was not interested in any compromise. He didn't want to deal with Labor or anyone else because he already had Peter Dunn in the bag. He had the single vote, the one vote that he needed to pass this bill today. And I, sir, find that deeply, deeply disappointing. This issue strikes at the heart of our society, our sovereignty, our rights and freedoms as citizens of this country. It is too important to simply bring it back to a numbers game, Mr. Speaker, to a situation where you have a willing buyer and a willing seller. This is a sad day. We are passing legislation that is ad hoc, that is Mickey Mouse, where you have to have a third reading to explain exactly what the bill will do. It will do nothing, sir, to reassure New Zealanders that their private lives are safe from the prying eyes of our spies. Right up to the last minute, the Prime Minister has been forced to clarify what the GCSB will actually achieve. Whether they will be able to read your emails, how many warrants you need, what foreign powers they might share that information with. And sir, New Zealanders deserve much better than that. They deserve better than bad law. They deserve better than the loose law we're being seen in front of us today. The law that leaves them looking over their shoulders. New Zealand could have led the way in responding to an increasingly digital age and got the balance right between keeping our citizens safe and our personal freedoms intact. There is hope, though, Mr. Speaker. A Labor-led government will take a different path. We will act on day one in office to commission a full review that we have promised. We will seek agreement across this Parliament for a terms of reference. We will involve New Zealanders every step of the way. And we will replace this law with a world-leading one that is based on the findings of that comprehensive inquiry. Because the only way we will ever win people's trust back that have been so sadly lost right across this country, sir, is to get an enduring solution that works in the best interest of this country. Thank you, Mr. President.